Hello, my name is Jonas. In this video, I'm going to explain why I chose the LG C9 and CX series OLEDs as an affordable option for those of you who wish to start learning and creating high dynamic range video today. And to explain why I consider the C9 and CX series OLEDs to be the best options right now, let's take a look at a few similarities between the two. First up is price and availability. These TVs can be picked up at many different stores around the world and to a reasonable price. They also have the option to calibrate 3 of the respective HDR modes using an internal path generator and the software Calman Home for LG from Portrait Displays. During the calibration, the user also has the ability to adjust the tone mapping of the TV with customizable tone curves. And this allows for hard clipping the PQ signal at the maximum calibrated luminance level, which is a characteristic found in more expensive grading monitors, and a feature that LG introduced in 2019 with their C9 series OLEDs. More about this in the section Setting up your C9 and CX series OLEDs. Now, a reason I chose these OLED TVs and not a computer display is that because when starting out with HDR video, I recommend that you begin with consuming HDR content. And a TV is much better suited for this than a computer display, with its larger size and internal apps for streaming. Now, if you later decide to upgrade to a newer or more expensive HDR display, you can still use your LG OLED for content consumption, quality control, and when having clients over, it's nice to have a large and calibrated display to show them content and presentations on. Or during color grading sessions, where it's common to have the client watch a large display while the colorist works on a smaller grading monitor. The LG OLEDs will work for this, both in regards to SDR and HDR workflows. I will come back later to small similarities between C9 and CX series OLEDs in regards to limitations. But first, let's take a look at what sets the newer CX series apart from the older C9. A new feature with the CX series OLEDs is the ability to verify an HDR calibration using the internal path generator and Calman software. And this isn't possible with the C9 series, and it allows you to now have even more confidence over the calibration of your TV. Another feature related to the previous is the ability to adjust the 2-point high white balance control after calibration has been made. Again, this wasn't possible on the C9 series, and it allows you to fine-tune the white balance to closer match your CX series OLED to another display. Now, another brand new feature with the CX series OLEDs is the ability to manually get the TV into the desired color space and elect optical transfer function, meaning HDR mode, along with a few other settings, which is done through the TV's menu. And this is a real game changer, and something I talk more about in the video Options for the Monitoring Workflow, and also setting up your C9 and CX series OLED. As a bonus, I would finally like to mention that the CX series now expands on LG's offering when it comes to size options, with a brand new 48-inch panel. Now, the smaller 48-inch size allows the viewer to sit closer to the TV, making it more versatile for desk setups than a larger 55-inch or 65-inch OLED. So, let's get into the limitations of using a TV for content creation. Even though these nice features and characteristics, the C9 and CX series OLEDs are still OLED TVs, which brings with it a few limitations worth mentioning. The first limitation is display dimming, which is a feature that dims the display after a certain period of time of displaying static content. Personally, it's something I noticed when I've been inactive for a while, and when I start working again, the display is a little bit dim. And once the TV notes a change in overall luminance level, by for example adjusting the brightness or changing the scene, the dimming disappears and the brightness of the TV goes back up to normal. This can also happen if you're working for an extended period of time on the same frame. Now, there are ways of disabling this feature in the TV service menu, but it will probably avoid the warranty of your OLED, and at the same time increase the risk of burn-in, so it's not something I can officially recommend that you do. But it's easily done with a special remote control that you can buy quite cheap on eBay. Another thing to be aware of with these OLEDs is ABL, which stands for Automatic Brightness Limiting. And the thing with current TVs and most HDR displays today is that even if it can output a certain maximum luminance level, it's only on a limited percentage of the total display area during a point in time. This means that if you have measured over 700 nits of peak brightness from your OLED TV, once a certain threshold of a considerably lower level is passed, the display will start to dim. Think of it as having a white patch on the screen. When the patch fills up only 10% of the total display area and is surrounded by black, it can be at the maximum luminance level. And as this patch grows, the brightness of it will also start to decrease. And once the white patch fills up the whole display, meaning that it's completely white, you have reached the maximum average picture level your OLED can produce. Now, more expensive HDR monitors handle these limitations in other ways. But even a grading monitor like the Sony X300 is affected by this. But instead of implementing automatic brightness limiting, it has warning lights, which lets the colorist know when the limit is reached or soon to be. Although more modern dual-layer SD displays, like the $40,000 Sony HX310, is able to produce 1000 nits over the whole screen at the same time. And this is also something Apple claims their Pro Display XDR monitor can do. And Asus claims that their upcoming PA32 UCD display also will be able to output 1000 nits on the whole screen at the same time. And with a lot of investments going into developing new display technologies, we're likely to see these numbers go up in time. So why did I choose the Pro Display XDR from Apple instead of LG C9 and CX series OLEDs? Well, there are several reasons for this, but it mainly comes down to two reasons: price and picture quality. The Pro Display XDR from Apple is a nice monitor, but it's several times more expensive than an LG C9 or CX series OLED. And it also has its own problems with blooming due to a very limited number of local dimming zones. Since the LG C9 and CX series OLEDs don't have a backlight, they don't have local dimming zones either, and can dim pixels individually, displaying bright objects on a dark surrounding perfectly, with no visible blooming and great image quality. As I said earlier, if you decide to upgrade to a newer or more expensive HDR monitor, you can still use your LG OLED for content consumption, quality control, or as a client view monitor during color grading sessions. So that's the reason why I chose the LG C9 and CX series OLEDs as an affordable option for those who wish to get started with learning and creating high dynamic range video today. In the next video, I'll look into options available when it comes to setting up a monitoring workflow using these OLEDs and the popular video editing and color grading software DaVinci Resolve.